Dust lifted in lazy spirals along the main road as the cowboy rode into Red Willow Creek, a town that looked like it had forgotten how to hope. Boardwalks sagged, shutters hung crooked, and the saloon piano wheezed like it had asthma. Folks noticed him anyway. They always did. Not because he was loud or flashy, but because he wasn't. He rode easy, like the horse knew his thoughts before he did, and he carried himself with the quiet confidence of a man who'd learned the hard way that noise rarely solved anything. His name was Eli Mercer, though most people would come to know him only as that lonely cowboy. He'd been riding for weeks, drifting from one small town to the next, doing odd jobs, sleeping under stars that never asked questions. He wasn't running from something so much as he was walking away from memories that refused to stay buried. Red Willow Creek had a story buzzing through it, and Eli heard pieces of it before his boots even hit the dirt. 25 men had tried. 25 had failed. Some left with broken bones, others with broken pride. A few never made it past the widow's gate twice. The widow. Her name was Clara Whitmore. Eli first saw her standing at the edge of the livery yard, dressed in black that somehow didn't dull her presence. The wind tugged at her dark hair, loosening it from its pins, and her eyes, sharp, watchful, tracked every movement around her like she was measuring the world and finding it lacking. She wasn't beautiful in a delicate way. She was striking, like a storm rolling in over flat land. Behind her, tied to a heavy oak post, stood the stallion. The horse was massive, coal-black with a white scar slashing diagonally across its chest. Muscles shifted under its hide like coiled wire. Its ears were pinned back, eyes wild and intelligent, as if it understood every whisper about it and resented them all. "That's him," a stable hand muttered nearby. "Devil's Crown." Eli followed the man's gaze. "Looks like he's got opinions." The stable hand snorted. "That horse don't take kindly to men. Widow says if you're a real cowboy, you prove it on her stallion. No saddle, no bridle. Just you and him." Eli raised an eyebrow. "And what happens if you can't?" The man's mouth twisted. "Depends how hard you fall." Eli didn't answer. He just watched the widow. She moved closer to the stallion, resting a hand on its neck. The horse stilled at her touch, breathing hard but steady, like it trusted her in a way it trusted no one else. That caught Eli's attention. Later that evening, the saloon buzzed louder than usual. The widow had made an appearance, and wherever she went, conversation followed. Men straightened their backs when she passed. Some tried to catch her eye. Most failed. Eli sat alone at a corner table, nursing a whiskey he didn't really want. He listened. 25 men, someone said, slurring slightly. 25. Big ones, too. Ranch hands, rodeo boys, even a former cavalry rider. Horse through every last one. Widows cursed, another voice chimed in. Lost her husband to that stallion, they say. That ain't true, a third voice argued. Husband died of fever. Horse came later. Eli glanced toward the bar, where Clara stood now, her gloved hands resting on the counter. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't frowning either. She looked tired. Not of men, exactly, but of disappointment. When she spoke, the room quieted. If you're a real cowboy, she said, voice calm but carrying, prove it on my stallion. A few men laughed nervously. Others looked down at their drinks. No one moved. Clara's gaze swept the room, lingering on each face as if she already knew the outcome. Then her eyes landed on Eli. He didn't look away. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The room seemed to hold its breath. You, she said, nodding toward him. You ride. Eli set his glass down slowly. Sometimes. A murmur rippled through the saloon. Sometimes. Clara repeated, one eyebrow arching. That horse ain't a sometimes kind of ride, someone muttered. Eli stood. He was tall but not towering, broad-shouldered without being bulky. A man shaped by work, not show. He met Clara's gaze evenly. I don't ride to win bets, he said. And I don't ride to impress crowds. Then why ride at all? She asked. He considered that. Because sometimes a horse needs to be understood more than conquered. The word surprised her. He saw it in the slight widening of her eyes before she masked it. 25 men thought they understood him, she said quietly. Eli nodded. Maybe they were too busy proving something. The saloon erupted in whispers. Clara studied him, really studied him now, as if weighing not just his skill, but his intent. Tomorrow morning, she said at last. At my ranch. Sunrise. Eli inclined his head. "I'll be there." As she turned to leave, someone grabbed Eli's arm. "You got a death wish." The man hissed. "That horse'll kill you." Eli gently freed his arm. "Maybe," he said. "Or maybe he's just been waiting on the wrong kind of man." That night, Eli didn't sleep much. He lay on the narrow bed of the boarding house, staring at the ceiling, listening to the wind scrape against the walls. Memories crept in uninvited, of another horse, years ago, spooked by gunfire, of a fall that shattered more than bones, of a partner who never got back up. He rose before dawn, saddled his own horse, and rode out to the widow's ranch as the sky blushed pink over the plains. Clara was already there, standing in the corral. Devil's Crown paced behind her, restless but alert. "You came," she said. "I said I would." She nodded once. "You should know," she added, voice low, "I don't want him broken." Eli's gaze flicked to the stallion, then back to her. "Neither do I." For the first time since he'd arrived in Red Willow Creek, something like a smile touched her lips. And as the sun crested the horizon, casting long shadows across the dirt, Eli stepped into the corral, alone with a horse that had defeated 25 men, and a widow who was no longer sure whether she wanted him to win or fail.